Let's dive into the first objective of the exam. This initial section is titled Describe Cloud Concepts and makes up roughly 25% of your total exam score. Throughout this section and the next one, we'll be covering the fundamentals of cloud computing in general, not just focusing on Microsoft Azure. I briefly touched on cloud computing in our introductory video. As you might remember, cloud computing essentially means using someone else's computers. In our case, Microsoft Azure owns the computing infrastructure that you're renting. Of course, there are many other providers like Amazon AWS, Google Cloud, Oracle, and at least a dozen more cloud vendors out there. The key advantage is that you can rent these services as needed, and in most scenarios, you only pay for what you actually use. So if you need computing power for just a few hours, that's all you'll be charged for. Let's start with a little time travel. It's 2005 and you're the IT manager at Super Important Corp. Your office looks like the inside of a spaceship, blinking lights everywhere, cables snaking across the floor, and the constant hum of server fans that sound like they're plotting world domination. And guess what? It's all your problem. Those servers need cooling, backup power, physical security, maintenance, upgrades. Oh, and if your website suddenly goes viral because your CEO accidentally became a meme, well, hope you enjoyed that 3 a.m. emergency server installation. Now fast forward to today. Same scenario, but with cloud computing. Your reaction? Cool story, bro. Let me just scale up our resources with this single click. So what exactly is cloud computing? At its heart, it's a simple idea with profound implications. Instead of buying, owning, and maintaining physical data centers and servers, you access computing services like storage, databases, networking software over the internet on demand from a provider like Microsoft Azure. Microsoft defines it as the delivery of computing services over the internet to offer faster innovation, flexible resources, and economies of scale. Think of it like electricity. A century ago, factories had to generate their own power. Today, you just plug into the grid and pay for what you use. Cloud computing is the same revolution, but for computing resources. Azure offers 3 main cloud service models, and understanding the differences is crucial for your AZ-900 exam. First, Infrastructure as a Service, or IaaS. In Azure, this includes virtual machines, virtual networks, and storage accounts. You're essentially renting virtualized hardware. Microsoft manages the physical hardware, but you control the operating systems, middleware, and applications. Think of Azure virtual machines. You decide the OS, the apps, and handle patching and updates. Next, Platform as a Service, or PaaS. Here, Microsoft manages everything up to the application runtime. Services like Azure App Service, Azure SQL Database, and Azure Functions fall here. You focus on your application code and data while Microsoft handles the underlying infrastructure and the operating system maintenance. This means less management overhead for you. Finally, Software as a Service, or SaaS. These are fully managed applications that you simply use. Microsoft 365, Dynamics 365, and Microsoft Teams are examples. You just configure options and manage your data and access. Microsoft handles everything else. Cloud technology isn't just another IT trend, it's transforming how businesses operate. Here's why it matters. Cost efficiency. You only pay for resources you actually use. No more investing in expensive servers that sit idle most of the year just to handle seasonal spikes like Black Friday. Scalability. When demand surges, maybe your product goes viral on social media, you can instantly scale up. When things quiet down, scale back and save money. No physical hardware sitting unused. Global reach. Launch your services worldwide in minutes instead of months. Your applications can be running on servers across different continents before you finished your morning coffee. Innovation focus. Stop spending valuable time managing infrastructure and concentrate on what you do best, creating amazing products. Cloud providers continuously roll out new services that you can implement almost immediately. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, but isn't putting everything in the cloud risky? Here's the reality. Cloud providers invest billions in security. They have teams of experts whose entire job is keeping data safe. Most security breaches happen because of human error, not cloud infrastructure failures. That said, security is a shared responsibility. Cloud providers secure the cloud itself, but you're responsible for what you put in the cloud and how you configure it. It's like the difference between the bank's vault security versus how you handle your ATM card and PIN. And I can't wrap up without mentioning serverless computing, a concept that blows people's minds when they first hear it. Serverless doesn't actually mean no servers. It means no server management for you. It's the ultimate evolution of the cloud model where you focus purely on your code while Azure handles everything else. We'll explore Azure functions and more in a dedicated video. Businesses and enterprises have access to an impressive range of services, and browsing the Azure Marketplace reveals over 1,000 different offerings. Let me show you what I mean by taking a quick look at the Azure Portal. Here we are in the Azure Portal, which you can access at portal.azure.com. To get in, you'll need to create an account, which does require registration, including a credit card. Alternatively, you might have access through your workplace, or you could be using a lab service like Udemy for Business Pro or something similar that provides accounts for training purposes. Looking at the homepage, you'll notice I've been using this account for a while, so my dashboard shows various projects I've worked on. Your homepage will probably look different when you first sign in. When I want to create a new resource, I typically click either the Create a Resource link or this green plus icon in the left menu, which brings up a categorized view of all available services. But let's look at what's available. Right at the top, you can see the most popular Azure services. One of these is what's called a web app. This is actually a layer of abstraction built on top of virtual machines that makes it easier for developers to deploy and work with custom-coded applications. The trade-off is that you lose control over the underlying operating system, but in exchange, you gain many additional features and conveniences. There's also something called a function app, which is interesting because you can actually write code directly in your web browser. When you create a function app, Azure provides a text editor right here in the portal where you can write your code. These are designed for small code snippets that run frequently and execute quickly. Perfect for lightweight operations. Another offering is the Logic app, which isn't exactly a virtual machine, but rather a tool that connects different applications together. It allows you to create workflows where one process triggers another automatically. You essentially build these logic flows using a visual diagram with boxes and connecting lines, a very intuitive way to create process automation. These are just some of the common services, but what I really want to highlight are these different categories shown here. Artificial intelligence is a major growth area, and Azure offers numerous AI services. For example, you can send text to Azure and have it translated into any of over 100 different languages. Need to convert English to Indonesian? There's an API for that. They also offer chatbot capabilities, natural language processing that can interpret human text to determine intent and then execute actions based on what people are asking for. The AI ecosystem within Azure is quite extensive. Beyond pre-built AI services, you can develop your own machine learning solutions using their ML platform. For data processing, there are tools like Databricks and Synapse, formerly known as Data Warehouse, that handle real-time processing of massive datasets. And yes, there are even blockchain-related services available. Under the compute category, you'll find considerable support for containers, which have become extremely popular. I believe Azure offers at least 5 different services supporting containers, including web apps, Service Fabric, container instances, AKS for Kubernetes orchestration, and more. They even offer quantum computing services. If you're interested in experimenting with quantum computing, Azure provides access to that cutting-edge technology right here. The database options extend far beyond Microsoft's own SQL Server. You'll find MongoDB, MariaDB, Cassandra, and you can even locate Oracle databases, though those aren't directly supported by Microsoft, but rather provided by Oracle Corporation itself. This illustrates how Azure includes both official Microsoft services and third-party offerings. If you search for Marketplace in the search box, you'll discover a vast ecosystem where not just Microsoft, but many other companies offer their services. SendGrid for email delivery, Canonical providing Ubuntu Linux, WordPress offering ready-to-deploy blog platforms. All sorts of organizations provide services that might include both open source and commercial software bundled together for easy deployment. This marketplace is where you'll find those 1,000+ options I mentioned earlier. The variety is truly staggering. Thousands of choices depending on your specific needs. There are load balancing services, Active Directory for authentication and user account management, which means you don't have to worry about storing passwords anymore, and countless other specialized tools. This brief tour gives you a glimpse of the Azure Marketplace with its officially supported Microsoft resources and third-party offerings available within the cloud ecosystem. The sheer breadth of services demonstrates why cloud computing has become such a transformative force in modern IT. So there you have it. Cloud computing is the foundation everything in Azure is built upon. It's about leveraging Microsoft's massive global infrastructure so you can focus on innovation rather than infrastructure maintenance. These concepts aren't just for passing a certification, they represent a fundamental shift in how modern IT operates. Whether you're just starting your cloud journey or looking to formalize your knowledge with the AZ-900 certification, understanding these basics is your first step. In our next video, we'll explore the core architectural components of Azure, so make sure you're subscribed and hit that notification bell. Drop any questions in the comments below, and I'd love to know, what aspect of cloud computing are you most excited to learn about? I'm Alex, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.